striking at kings. They are striking at kings. There's only one way to get their fair pay. They're striking at kings.
Hello and welcome to the Labor John podcast, where we strike at the working class history of Philadelphia and the surrounding world, and we strike at it fiercely with solidarity and love. My name is Sam James. I'm a co-host of this program that we call Labor John, and the other co-host of the Labor John is
Gabe Christie. I am
and
also
on
here.
January. Sorry, Gabe. What?
I said I am also here.
You are also here, and there's also someone else here. But first, before we bring in this lovely person, on January 2nd, "Striking at Kings," a song about the 1938 strike by farm workers at King's Farm in Morrisville, PA, was released to coincide with the 5th anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. And today we will be speaking with the writer and the original performer of that song, which I'm very excited about. And I say original performer because the moment we're done here, I'm going to record it and steal it from you, Mindy. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
But that's a testament of the song itself. But please welcome to the show, Mindy Murray. How are you doing?
Doing great. Nice to meet you both. And thanks for having me, talk about it a little bit and get to talk to you guys. And yeah.
Yeah. A little backstory of how we just got here. Your bandmate in the River Drivers, Kevin McCloskey,
Right.
is a mutual friend of mine, but I never actually got to meet him in person yet. But we know each other through socials and stuff. But he
Right.
posted something about your new song. And at this point, we haven't been speaking, to each other. And I was like, I told Kevin, I said, me and Gabe on Labor Joe did an episode all about this. This is great. Like, when does the song come out? And so he gave me your information, and then you messaged me and everything. And I was like, we've never had a musician, specifically a musician, on the show to talk with for an interview. So that's how this came to be. And I'm very happy you're here. And before we get into the song specifically, I'm really interested in your background, where you came from, and how you got into songwriting. If you can talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I'm kind of a non-traditional songwriter. I actually have a day job. I'm a physician, and I do like family medicine and geriatrics. And before I went to medical school, I did a lot. I played a lot, like in college. The college. Coffee house scene, stuff like that, wrote some music. But as you are probably aware with the family and all, once life takes over, that kind of falls by the wayside. So it was a good 15 years in between that I didn't do much music. And then my oldest daughter started working at the New Jersey Folk Festival as part of the crew that runs that. The college has a course, and there's like maybe 10 or 12 students that then take this course and run the festival, for the 4 years they're there. Well, anyway, make a longer story even longer, I guess. Yeah, she learned how to play fiddle at some point in time, and then we started playing together, and then Kevin was her classmate in grade school. So that's kind of how, and the other person in our band in River Drivers was my college roommate. So it's kind of like
I like that.
Like a cross-generational kind of weird band. But
It's
but
like
anyway,
the friend version of the Partridge Family.
right. I hope not. Yeah, I guess. So we formed the River Drivers maybe 12 years ago now, and we do like Americana, and we do the Irish folk that Kevin is known for, and is so good at digging up songs from. Almost all of our songs have like a working class theme, and so the two types of music fit together, pretty well. So I mean, that's kind of where we are now. I guess I would be the main songwriter of the group. Kevin has helped me on some of the songs, and he has written some songs. Marion has written a song. So yeah, it's like this kind of, group effort. right now, these last few songs I did release as a solo, but Kevin's on the track of Striking at Kings. He came on mandolin and vocals with me, which was so great because, like I said, he's great. So that's kind of where I come from. As far as the songs, I mean, as far as writing songs about different labor issues, I think the first one I did was actually, and you guys I'm sure have heard of it, but most people haven't. But I did a song about Blair Mountain, which is and at the time, like I had gone to medical school in West Virginia, so like I worked the clinics and all in the mountains, and also I got this feel for. That's where I think I really got the feel for the labor movement, and you saw the aftermath of of not having these miners protected in any way and stuff. So anyway, so that was probably the first song that I wrote in that vein, but I've probably written, I don't know, 7 or 8, since then, basically on kind of labor topics and then my most recent obviously is Striking at Kings, which I had always wanted to write this song. I'd always wanted to write a song about that after all these years of hearing my dad talk about it, and then finally, like this was the time to do it because of the title, because of Striking at Kings, because it was such a, it's like, this is it now or never, do this, so I did. And it's some songs you get a feel for when you write them that you're, it's like, okay, this is all right. This song's pretty good, and I kind of had that feeling with this song. So, but, so that's where the song came from too.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the other songs you did, and like I'm always interested in where and how someone comes to this point in their life where they want to write songs about like working class struggles and labor history and all that, because that's what I'm doing. So I have a ventured interest in this, but but like everyone comes from a different directions and different ways, and it's so interesting. And but I wanted to talk about Blair Mountain specifically because, from my understanding, the United Mine Workers of America are very familiar with that song. Correct?
That was funny. That was like being kind of an outside the mainstream of music, which is where I came from. Like I had no qualms about writing this song and sending it to the United Mine Workers, and I did that, and they wrote back and they said, we'd like to put this in their annual report, and I said, yeah, sure, that sounds great.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that to me was like that is still one of my best music moments, is when that happened. But even now, if you go to the United Mine Workers site, there's like a heading, what is it, arts and music or something, and they have our most recent record linked there, like with their favorites from it, which. Like to me, I mean, that's, it's kind of why I do what I do, obviously it's not my livelihood, but it is like, it has a deep meaning to me, like I just, I want my music to mean something. I never, maybe that's a good idea. I just never wanted it just to entertain, I definitely don't do dance music. I don't do dinner music, like. I'm kind of like backed into a corner here, so this fits what I do. But that was a highlight of my musical life and obviously in the bands, Kevin's. I mean, it's just a cool thing,
I love that. It's like it's also, I use the word old school a lot, but it's old school. I can see Utah Phillips. I can see anybody. I'm losing it right here, but I could think of like anybody sending the records to the mine workers, the UAW, and then putting out a record like they used to in the old days. The UAW used to have put out records all the time and all that. And,
right.
But I hope we get back to that. I want more compilation albums put out by unions.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was also one other, I'm trying to string along, but there's one other song I wanted to talk about. I want to string along our listeners here until we get to the actual topic. But your song about the grape boycott in the
Oh, yeah.
60s. I was,
Si se puede. Yeah,
yeah,
si se puede. That now I also sent that, but I haven't heard anything.
it's not on their website yet.
Not on their website. I'm not even sure that they have a they do have a website, but yeah, that song, it's just things that you remember growing up that had a really big impression on you. Like I was very young when that was going on, but I remember my mom. I mean, she wouldn't buy lettuce, she wouldn't buy grapes. Like and it was like it was a part. It was just something you weren't going to be doing because there were people struggling. And
Yeah.
and so another thing that just kind of. You just kind of always felt like you wanted to write about,
Yeah.
get us out there. So, but yeah,
And I like those little inklings, like when you're growing up that you remember, like you said, like your parents didn't buy the grapes and all that. My dad, because my grandfather was also big in the union. My dad kept a lot of these like buttons and stuff from over the years. And one of my favorite buttons that he passed down to me was "Don't buy scab grapes."
uh-huh.
And that's a,
Yeah. Yeah.
but and that song won you an award or a first place on something as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember
That's
which one that was. That was I think
I
that
have
was
it
just
written down if you want me to tell you.
yeah, you may as well.
Well,
There's
the
been a
song won first place for its lyrics at for the International
International
Songwriters Day
Songwriter.
2025. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was last year. But yeah, and it just like we all like I guess recognition, when you
Yeah.
do something. So yeah, that was a cool thing. So
Yeah.
and it's also nice that I don't know, it just raises awareness to lots of different things. Like when a song like that like is picked up, with a lot of other like folk songs and pop songs and things like that. I think it means people are, more aware,
Yeah.
of causes and things now than they have been for a very long time. So yeah.
And I just like, I picked those two songs specifically because of labor history and what we're trying to do with this podcast. But getting out the history through song, through podcast, through whatever means, I think there's something to be said about that. And, what you're doing with your music, you're spreading history out there. And that's why I always call myself like a folk musician, because
Uh-huh.
first and foremost, I'm just trying to get, just a story out there. And, music
Right.
is the vehicle to do it with. So,
Well, our musical and your podcast paths have crossed with Kevin and I wrote a song called Children's March, which was
mhm.
about Mother Jones. And, looking back, I hadn't seen that. You did it a couple years ago. And I hadn't seen that until I actually went back and started looking through, what podcasts that you've done that maybe we had, crossed paths with.
Yeah.
And that's a neat thing too, because they went right through Bristol. They went right through our town, Mother Jones. And we had, we have, everything named Grundy in this town because we had a mill owner who, he had child laborers over in his factories as Mother Jones was coming through, and she had a big rally like right at the end of Mill Street, which is just maybe half a mile from here, and so it was neat to hear how the history that you guys had compilated, and then the history that we've that we got through probably a lot of the same sources, but it is neat to see how I don't know, prose and music, history of music like intersect, like that.
Yeah.
So it was yeah.
All right. Well, we've kind of touched on it so far, so let's get really into it. Let's get into Striking at Kings. first and foremost, this song, and I'm not just saying this because you're here in front of me, is amazing. It's a good song. The lyrics are very well done. You wrote the lyrics, and we will get to parts of it. Well, we'll play it on, with your permission, we'll play it on the podcast, and parts that it were just so chilling. And it's felt like the song, even though it was almost written yesterday, it felt like it could be implied or applied to today as well.
Right.
And that's why I think it'll have some staying power, for good and for bad. But well, I want to know like the history behind the song and what made you really want to write about it.
Like I said, I had always wanted to write a song about King Farm. I live on the street that's just like 7 miles. You go 7 miles straight down the street I live on, and you would hit where King Farm is. So it's like very local to me. My dad grew up as the youngest of 10 kids. His dad died when he was 10. They had a farm in what is now Tarsdale, and they lost it like right before the Depression for back taxes. And so to support the family, all of the kids would go to work in the fields around where they lived. They moved then to the Fallsington, Morrisville area, and they would all work in the fields, and he would tell me about this. Like, he would say, we would, get up early, you'd do like 2 or 3 hours of asparagus, you'd go to school, if there was still daylight at the end of school, you come home. I mean, it was like,
Jeez.
it was really, rough stuff. But he had always, like, he did not ever work at King Farm, though. His mom didn't want them to work at King Farm. She didn't think that they treated their workers well. She didn't think that they, and this was actually after, like, when I was looking at the timeline of when the strike was and how old he was and all, like, his actual working, before school and all, was probably after, like, maybe 5 to 7 years after the strike, like, because he would have been, I don't know, he would have been like 7 or 8, like, at the time of the strike. Definitely too young, to be working. And it's funny because, like, they were striking for anywhere between 17 and 20 cents an hour. Like, they had actually, you guys, I think, know this more than me, but there had been a law passed that they were going to demand that the workers make more money, but King decided not to do that and actually ratcheted down their pay. But the 17 to 20 cents an hour really struck me because my dad told me that they used to make 35 cents an hour.
Really?
Yeah. But this would have been like, and this may have been because of the CIO, because it was then like maybe 7 or 8 years after the strike, so maybe that really boosted, the economy in the area, or it may have been the fact that he was working for the smaller farms and not the big, factory farm, which is kind of what farm, that King Farm was. But so I'd always wanted to write that song. And then, now, with this, with the whole political climate and the whole, people realizing, we're hoping they are realizing how bad things are and how, you just really have to stand up. You have to do something about this. And the fact that the name is King, and we have the big demonstrations, against having a monarchy in America.
Yeah, all the no king protests. Yeah,
right. So it just seemed like And so I did want to. This is, like I said, that was why I really thought this is the time to write this song. Just do it, and at first I wasn't sure I wanted to put in the last verse, because, you don't always, music doesn't always, you don't always want to just, lay it all out there and throw it in someone's face. You kind of like them to like kind of like
Yeah.
get it on their own, you know.
Yeah,
And
let them do the last mile of thinking, you know?
right,
Yeah.
right. But no matter which way I did it, it was like, nah, it's gotta be, I gotta
Yeah.
keep that in there.
Well,
So
I'm happy you did, because the last, I actually wrote down the last lyrics, and I liked, when we're done, I would like to close out the interview with the last line, because it's so striking for a word to put it. But yeah.
But so that's really like so where I gathered my information from is like I said, a lot from oral history, some from searching the internet, which there wasn't a whole lot on, which was surprising, but there were. I had a couple of newspaper clips as well, and then I used photos from the Library of Congress. We were talking before we started about Vachon and John Vachon, and how he was working for the Farm Bureau, the FSA, doing these photos to document what was going on. And now when you look at those photos, like, they tell a story themselves,
I love the photos from that. I remember specifically all those photos from when we did that episode.
Yeah.
The signs, yeah.
Yep. And just, looking at the people, I mean, and the fact too, I mean, not only is it like about kings, like the whole labor, you can't, I don't think, separate like how the different parts of the labor movement intersected with immigration and with immigrants, because like it seems like you can't really yeah, you can, but it's hard to really pull those things apart, because like most of the jobs that people were doing were the undesirable jobs, which the immigrants came in and they did, and it just they're the ones who had absolutely no protections, and it just the people who worked at King's Farm, they would take, I don't know if you told me that, or you told me this personally, no, but I don't know if it was in your podcast, that they would take the buses and they would go to Philly and they would pick up the people who needed jobs. And those were usually Italian immigrants at that point.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that was right. And it was really a lot of effectively Italian refugees who were fleeing like both the unrest from Mussolini's rise, and then fleeing the fascist regime specifically as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you can actually, like in the pictures, you can actually see that, like you can actually, it brought it to life, but again, because of that strong connection, I did another song about the Shirtwaist Triangle factory fire, and that was all, Jewish and Italian immigrant women, and then it's hard to separate the immigrants and the labor concerns from, the patriarchy thing, so like, it's just a whole, you just start getting really deep in the weeds, but so all those concerns, the immigrant concerns, the king, the correlations is why I just really thought this would be the time to get this song out. I wrote it on Labor Day. I mean, what more could you want?
Hey.
Yeah.
I like that. The planets have aligned for this song.
Yeah, for sure. But so that's the story of Striking at Kings. I don't know if I left anything out that would be interesting, but yeah, I wish my dad was still around, because I know he would love it.
Yeah.
He's like one of my biggest music critics. If it got past my dad, it was good. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, there's I'm trying to remember the whole episode, and I mean, like, there's parts of it, I mean, that do pop up when I listen to the song. I was like, yeah, I remember that, and it being the late 30s, I know there was a lot of red baiting and stuff going on, and
Right.
But go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah,
you inhaled, so I know what you're about to say. You're about to say something.
I was just going to say that there's also parallels down with the Seabrook Farm strike in South Jersey, where it was another instance where they were effectively busing in unemployed workers from Philly. These were mostly Italian immigrants and black workers. But the response, even though Seabrook was 4 years before King's Farm, the response from both the owner and the police were almost identical. Except Seabrook also enlisted the Klan in attacking the workers, which I wouldn't put past Charles King, but I don't think he had that as an option. So
it could always get worse. The Klan could be involved with something. So
yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't aware. I'll have to read up on that farm strike as well. But yeah, and it was like some of the details were just like too good to leave out. Like, the fact that the one man who was arrested for throwing the bottle or whatever, got off because he pleaded like that he had been drinking, and it was like, okay, that's great. Yeah, all right. But yeah, so the details that stick in history sometimes are not the ones you really think, you just didn't think they would, that would be something that could be easily lost. But
all right, well, Gabe, do you have any questions you want to ask Mindy, or anything that popped up in your head?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the John Vachon photos, because like both of you were saying, that they're it's very rare to get the photos that are that clear and really show the like behind the scenes of everything. The fact that he was able to go into their houses and because most of the time when you see photos of strikes, especially in the 30s, it's a newspaper or press photo of like strikers fighting in the streets, or a major picket line or something like that. But it was really fascinating to see his ability to just humanize the people there. And it was also lovely to see that reflected in your song and your approach to the music. Because I think, to not continue to butter you up, I think you did a very good job of really humanizing the people involved, and kind of creating that, or getting across the atmosphere that existed at the time, and the humanity of the people striking.
Yeah, the photos meant an awful lot to me, and I did use them to, kind of write the song to those faces, and I am excited because my next goal with this song is to put out a music video using not only those photos, but I have of a family friend who has a collection of photos from King's Farm. And even in some of the structures that are talked about, like the you call it the crack house, but it's not that. But the the different buildings on the farm itself and things. So I'm really excited to see them, first off, and we were going to do it actually tomorrow, but the storm, I don't want these people going out in this in the ice and snow for the sake of art right now. But I'm excited to actually get those and do something with them, because I'd love to have a video. I had made a video of another song, Big Oak Road, that I did about my dad's family and that whole situation. And I actually had pictures of them on the farm and the people working and all. And that, again, like just helps you write the music when you can see the eyes and you can, see the expressions and, So, I'm excited, for that next part, of next saga of the, of the song.
I was also just going to point out the parallels between the photos from the King's Farm strike and actually your band in terms of the intergenerational aspect of it, because that was always one thing that struck me from King's Farm, was that you had what looked to be about 14 to 15-year-olds all the way up to people in their 60s.
Yep.
And so though it doesn't sound like your band's generational range is quite that far.
Sometimes it is. It depends, but no, and it's true. I mean, that was striking looking through the pictures, to see, and you can still see, the faces, but the young girl, with the very curly hair holding the sign. I agree. She had to be, 13 or 14. She, was, definitely. And then, when some of the pictures of them inside of the buildings that they stayed in, which I don't know what you could even call them. There weren't homes, but they, some definitely grandparent type, age groups. So it was, because I didn't, somewhere I have all my sources written down because I save everything, but I think that, and I don't know, maybe you guys maybe it is even from you guys, but they talked about, at the instigation, the beginning of the strike, they talked about that there were two guys who had been working with the CIO and had been, as soon as they heard, that they were their wages were going to be slashed, that they just, started, getting everybody organized, getting everybody excited. And then when I was looking through the pictures, there was actually these two guys standing right in front, and it's like, that's got to be them, that's got to be them. They didn't fit like the demographics that we were talking about. I mean, and they just like, I wished I had that, but you know what I'm talking about. But it just, to me, I looked at those two guys and I said, that's them. That's got to be them, So, it just, his photos really brought a lot to life, for me, and hopefully I could, get that to other people through the song, to somehow.
Yeah.
But,
and for our listeners, there's two, and we'll probably share these with the socials, but in the photos, there are two guys who always show up who are slightly cleaner than everyone else. They always have
these guys.
Yep. They always have a CIO button, and usually they have a pen or a pencil and a notepad, so you can tell those are the organizers because they're always there, like writing people's names down, recording every interaction with the boss and police, and but no, it's I can rant on about these photos for hours. So.
Yeah, no, I am right with you. I love wandering through there, just to see what's there. But that one of them coming out of the bunkhouse, that'll definitely be in the video somewhere. But it was the pack house. The woman that has the photos was telling me she has like pictures of the pack house and the inside of the pack house. And it's like, I want to see these, So now I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to, get my hands on them. But
that's something to look forward to. And we're looking forward to that coming out as well. And, and like Gabe mentioned, going back to like the pictures and your song and even our podcast, I guess. But it's like the humanizing of people. It's like, these are your neighbors in the past and in the present, and we got to care for each other. And I think the song does that, and it has a good ounce of solidarity and a good ounce of sometimes we got to fight back, and whatever happens. We'll see what happens. But if nobody has anything else, I would like to know any future plans you have besides the video. But if any shows coming up, anything happening with the River Drivers, anything you want to mention or put out there?
And when April 23rd, I am part of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society's musical artist co-op. The band is, and I am, and we're doing the co-op is doing a show at the Falzer Club in East Falls.
Oh, okay.
On the 23rd, and it's actually a themed show, and the theme is the music that is all the performers are going to do social justice songs, so that they let me they let me in, so I'm going to be there too, and so that's coming up, and that's pretty exciting. There'll be, I don't know, 12 or 13 other people doing maybe 2 or 3 songs each, and but it's for a good cause, and so that's the Falzer Club, and at the end of March I'm doing a rally up at the Doylestown Action League. They also just try to get everybody together, try to organize, try to use music to try to bind people together and raise awareness and fight back, whatever. So that's I don't have a date for that yet, but that's the end of March. So those things are coming up. Every Sunday, Kevin does a ballad session at Fergie's downtown, Fergie's pub on oh God,
13th and Sansom.
Yes,
I think it's Sansom,
right, Sansom. So that's it's 7 to 10 almost every Sunday night. I don't think they did last Sunday, but they're excused, I guess. And we're usually, I go down there a lot too. And
yeah, well, we love some Fergies on this podcast here, so maybe we'll see you there sometime soon. See Kevin and the whole group and all that.
That would be great. That would be great.
And if you can also find your stuff at your website, correct? MindyMurray.com?
Yes, right.
Awesome.
MindyMurray.com. Yeah, pretty much all the songs, even some that haven't been released, professionally released yet. So there's a lot of stuff on there. And I appreciate that, checking that out. So
awesome. Well, Mindy, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was really nice. And
my pleasure. This has been fun.
No, this was my pleasure. Trust me. When I saw this song pop up on my feed, I was like, oh, I got to get on. I got to find out who did this. I got to find out. We got to talk to this person. And it turned out it's a lovely person, Mindy Murray. And thanks to Kevin for hooking us up here. But Striking at Kings was just released in January here in 2026. It's a great song. We'll play it at the end of the episode, I guess. And if no one else has anything pressing to say, I would like to close this out with the last lyrics, if that is okay with you, Mindy.
Absolutely.
But 90 years later, and the poor are still poor, and those wannabe kings, they just take more and more. King's fields are all gone now, but the workers remain. They are biding their time. They will still walk the line. They are striking at Kings.
One hot summer night, coming back from the fields to that dusty gray bunkhouse where King's plan was revealed. He was cutting their wages down to 17 cents an hour. They'll still hold the power. They're striking at King's. When others heard just what King had done, 2 boys left the bunkhouse and they started to run down to the pack house. The night shift had begun. They were yelling all out. They left it, no doubt. They're striking at King's. They are striking at King's. They are striking at King's. There's only one way to get their fair pay. They're striking at King's. Arms locked at the gate. Trucks idled in line. They were screaming at scabs. They were holding up signs. Some were just teens then on that hot gravel drive, saying no work today, just give us fair pay. We're striking at King's. Insults were hurled and a bottle was tossed. Punches were thrown, and in came the state cops. They arrested Joe Otis. Whiskey was his defense. He was cleared of the crime. He went back, walked the line. He's striking at King's. He's striking at King's. He's striking at King's. There's only one way to get their fair pay. They're striking at King's. The CIO, it helped them organize. Life got a bit better once they unionized. They were willing to stand up in the face of that King. There's only one way to get their fair pay. They're striking at King's. But 90 years later, and the poor are still poor, and those wannabe kings, they just take more and more. King's fields are all gone now, but the workers remain. They're biding their time. They'll still walk the line. They're striking at King's. They are striking at King's. They are striking at King's. There's only one way to get their fair pay. They're striking at King's. They are striking at King's. Striking at King's. There's only one way to get their fair pay. They're striking at King's.